The Great Pumpkin Panic. The kids were excited as Halloween was just around the corner, and Grandma Clara had promised to help them prepare for the holiday by crafting some spooky Halloween toys and decorations. Clara's grandkids, Henry, Lily, and their mischievous cousin Sam, had gathered at her cozy house nestled in a quiet town where Halloween was taken very seriously. Every year, the neighbors tried to outdo each other with scarier and more creative decorations, and the kids wanted to make sure they'd have something truly spectacular. As they huddled around the kitchen table, Grandma Clara brought out boxes filled with orange and black decorations, glittering spiders, plastic eyeballs, and little bat wings. She handed each child a small pumpkin to carve, a bag of googly eyes, and some paintbrushes. "Well, we have to make these pumpkins look scary, right?" Henry said, determined as he drew his design on his pumpkin with a marker. Of course, Grandma Clara agreed with a wink. "But remember, you want them to be fun scary, not too terrifying. We don't want to frighten your Uncle Albert like last year." Sam snickered. Last year, Uncle Albert had nearly jumped out of his skin when he walked into a room full of life-size skeletons and fake cobwebs they'd set up just for him. "Grandma," Lily asked, looking thoughtfully at her pumpkin, "do you think we'll see any ghosts this Halloween?" "Oh, ghosts? Well, they're very picky about where they go, my dear," Grandma Clara said with a sly grin. "They only show up when they know someone's really trying to scare them away. Maybe they'll pop by if they see you're decorating your pumpkins." With that, Grandma Clara chuckled to herself and returned to slicing pieces of apples for a Halloween pie. After hours of crafting and giggles, the pumpkins were ready. They had made one with vampire fangs, another with glittering eyes that seemed to follow you around, and one with a wobbly grin that looked more goofy than scary. The kids were delighted. They arranged the pumpkins around the front porch and added a few fake spiders and cobwebs. As the sun set and the porch light cast an eerie glow over the pumpkins, Grandma Clara called out, "Why don't you all go take a look at your masterpieces now? I'll grab my camera so we can send some pictures to Aunt Helen." The kids raced outside, but as they reached the porch, they froze in their tracks. One of the pumpkins had moved slightly from where they had placed it. Henry was the first to notice. "Wait, didn't we put that pumpkin with the vampire teeth on the left?" he asked. "Yes," Lily replied nervously, clutching Sam's arm. "But now it's in the middle." They stared at the pumpkin. Had it really moved? Or was it just a trick of the shadows? Sam, always the brave one, stepped forward to investigate. "I think it's just the wind," he said, though his voice was shaky. Or maybe Grandma accidentally bumped it. The three of them took a deep breath and, mustering up their courage, moved closer. But just as they got within arm's reach, the pumpkin wiggled. The kids gasped and jumped back, their hearts racing. "Oh no," Lily whispered, clutching her arms to her chest. "It's a haunted pumpkin." Henry gulped. It can't be. Can it?" "Well, I read a story once," Sam said with a fake air of confidence, "about a pumpkin that came to life on Halloween night and chased people around. It would follow anyone who tried to run away from it." His voice lowered ominously. "Maybe this is one of those pumpkins." Lily's eyes were wide with terror. "Sam, stop. You're scaring us." "Oh, come on, it's Halloween." Sam laughed, but it was clear he was a little scared himself. After all, he didn't really believe in moving pumpkins, right? Grandma Clara, who had been watching from the window, stepped outside. "What's going on out here?" she asked, feigning surprise. She had noticed the pumpkin moving a bit, but she kept her expression innocent. "Grandma," Henry cried, pointing at the pumpkin. It moved. It really did. "Are you sure?" she asked, tilting her head. "Maybe you just imagined it. Sometimes pumpkins look like they're moving in the shadows." But at that moment, the pumpkin gave a little hop, barely an inch off the ground, but enough to send the kids into a panic. They shrieked and grabbed onto Grandma Clara, who looked down at the pumpkin with a puzzled smile. "Well now, that is strange," she murmured, leaning in for a closer look. "I don't think I've ever seen a pumpkin do that before." The kids stared in horror as the pumpkin moved again. It wiggled, and then it rolled slightly to the left. They could even hear a faint thump from inside it. There's something inside, Lily whispered, her voice trembling. Sam's eyes widened. Maybe it's a ghost trapped in the pumpkin. Or a zombie mouse. The kids clung to each other, wide-eyed, as they watched the pumpkin wobble once more. Grandma Clara chuckled to herself but kept a straight face. Well, I suppose there's only one way to find out what's going on in there, she said, picking up a small knife. Let's take a peek inside, shall we? The kids screamed, no, in unison. Oh, come on now, don't be scared. Grandma Clara laughed. It's just a pumpkin. With a gentle twist of the knife, Grandma Clara pried off the pumpkin's top. She peeked inside, her expression amused and slightly surprised. Well, she murmured. What is it, Grandma? Henry asked, his voice barely a whisper. She reached into the pumpkin and gently pulled out a small, furry, and very disgruntled squirrel. The kids burst out laughing, their fears evaporating in an instant. Oh my goodness! Lily squealed. It was a squirrel all along. The little squirrel blinked up at them, clearly as surprised as they were. It seemed to have been munching on some seeds inside the pumpkin when it got trapped and started causing a commotion. I think we might have interrupted his dinner, Grandma Clara said with a chuckle as she gently set the squirrel down on the grass. It scurried away, looking over its shoulder as if to say, no more pumpkins for me. The kids couldn't stop laughing. They rolled on the grass, holding their sides as they imagined the little squirrel getting spooked inside the pumpkin, thinking he was the one trapped in a haunted pumpkin. Oh man, Sam gasped, wiping tears from his eyes. I thought we were dealing with a real haunted pumpkin. Me too, Henry added, still giggling. I thought it was going to chase us around. As they calmed down, Grandma Clara put an arm around each of them. You know, sometimes the things we're afraid of are just ordinary things in disguise. And sometimes, the best way to deal with something scary is to laugh. The kids nodded, smiling up at her. They knew that this Halloween would be one they'd remember forever, the year they learned that not all spooky things are as scary as they seem, especially when they come with a little surprise inside. And as they made their way back into the house, Grandma Clara could still hear them giggling about the great pumpkin panic and the brave little squirrel that gave them the best Halloween scare of all.